So I'd love to know if this happens to you, if I'm not the only one. Every now and then, I am stopped in my tracks when I witness a gesture of kindness. It could be a family helping an elder get to a seat at the school concert. It could be not even a person around, it could be haphazard holiday decorations. It could be the reminder that libraries are places to get warm and to be treated like a human being when the weather and the world are cold. It could be a witness, such as watching the continuous flow of people who supported justice on behalf of Sonia Massey and her family after her terrible death was outside the courthouse in Peoria. Wherever 2 or 3 people are gathered, there is beloved community. It could be just little signs and indications that someone was here and cared. It could be the glory of fall on the trail and back. It could be the beauty of snow. I am struck and overcome by the glory of our world at times. The smallest human moments are a revelation because they show the heart that exists within each of us. I confess in those moments when I am so struck, the holidays is one of the most potent kinds of times for this. And I am verklempt and teary and need a moment to compose myself. And I wonder if that happens to you. If you are so struck on occasion by the world. And I wonder what moves you without warning. What moves you without warning? And even while I don't really want to be, I'll be slightly self-conscious and embarrassed if I kind of am witnessed to be in such a moment and somebody asks if you're okay or someone. I don't want to rush the feeling of the experience either. As Frederick Buechner says, whenever you find tears in your eyes, especially unexpected tears, it is well to pay the closest attention. They're not only telling you something about the secret of who you are, but more often than not, God is speaking to you through them of the mystery of where you have come from and is summoning you to where you should go next. We need to let ourselves feel and be touched by a world, because that is such a powerful reminder of our humanity, of our mortality, as well as the wonder. Feeling in these moments is part of my spiritual practice. In fact, such instances remind me of what is also true and amazing alongside the ugly, the terrible, the heartbreaking, and the despair. That attention and intention to pause in moments of awe feeds my gratitude and my joy. The service for today is focusing a bit on gratitude. We're finishing up the theme that was from November. I also want to say one part in looking this up, I was reminded that in Unitarian Universalism, we don't separate gratitude from its companion, generosity. Generosity is one of our kind of newly affirmed denominational ways we talk about what are our core values. We center everything in love, but we also talk about interdependence and pluralism and justice and generosity, among others. And the value statement that goes with generosity reads like this: we cultivate a spirit of gratitude and hope We covenant to freely and compassionately share our faith, our presence, and our resources. Our generosity connects us one to another in relationships of interdependence and mutuality. Our generosity connects us to one another in relationships of interdependence and mutuality. Part of what we come from in that is articulated by my colleague, the Reverend Eileen Wiviot. She says, such generosity is born out of gratitude and hope. It is inseparable from gratitude, and they are bound together in an endless cycle of abundance and reciprocity. When we remember to be grateful for the air we breathe, for the food we eat, for the beauty around us, for the relationships that sustain us, generosity flows freely. Genuine gratitude for needs met can only lead to the conclusion that everyone's needs should be met, and a commitment to making that a reality. In other words, gratitude, hope, generosity is a fantastic way to convert people to equality and justice for everybody. For making sure that people are fed and housed and cared for. Making sure that our earth is respected and regarded and saved for generations to come. All of this fits with our mission as a congregation as well, of embracing freedom, embracing that liberation of the heart, embracing that chance to be with one another, embracing the opportunity to explore and wonder as we will and where we will, in spirit and in body, of loving abundantly, of growing in mind, body, and spirit, because we want everybody's capacity to be fantastic and fabulous. We want a more whole and more healed world, certainly for ourselves, and then also for every generation to come. We're deeply connected to one another. That is one of our most powerful and important understandings of how we are in Unitarian Universalism, of how we are in a liberal approach to religion, of how we are in our society. It is all centered in love, all centered in interdependence, in part as described by Robin Wall Kimmerer. It's also part of our power and capacity for transforming the world. This is serious work that we get to do together. And yesterday morning, I want to tell you about a place where I was seeing this in action. So if you're not familiar with the Acorn Equality Fund, the local body here in Peoria, but serving a goodly portion of Illinois. And the first Saturday morning, of December, as it has been for quite some time, there is a breakfast. They've been gathering since 1999. And they distribute generosity and scholarship and support to recipients who then go off and are able to pursue their higher education. And they also get a good message of encouragement. The mission of the Acorn Equality Fund is this. It's a grassroots nonprofit organization, provides financial support to advance the education, health, and civil rights of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people, organizations, and allies in central and downstate Illinois. So I have been attending this breakfast since we came to Peoria in 2020. I got to attend first online for the first couple of years and then in person. And I think this year, if I'm correct, is the first time when our congregation actually also had hosted a table at this event. And just in case you were there and were wondering, I did take church attendance. There was a lot of UUs, given the member and friends in the more than 400 people who were at the breakfast yesterday morning. And the meanings of these scholarships are centered on, they come from qualifications based on academics, but also of service, of advocacy, of public health, and also what whatever personal challenges, whatever context people are having that are a particular struggle. Now, what struck me from the beginning of going to these breakfasts is that you have such emotional support. There's the gifts, the scholarships, but then there's this emotional support that represented as much as the financial. These recipients and their friends and family have an entire community of strangers rooting for them. So this is one. And what also struck me is the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, intersex, asexual plus donors and scholarship creators. How much it meant to them to be able to support others. It is to more than survive. It is to leave a legacy when the question of meaning and value is not a sure thing for folks who lived through the AIDS crisis or who are still told they do not matter, that they are not human by so many politicians and people in our current environment. Those donations, creating different scholarships for different needs, are real, tangible acts, and they defy oppression and suppression. The awards are a form of affirmation. As the recipients are named, one of the things I've started to do is kind of pull out my phone and look up what town they come from. And at least half of the recipients come from some of the smallest and most isolated towns in the state. Many of the recipients talk about how the support means so much, given how far away they are from larger communities where they could get more support. And part of what's a wonder here is that it's a mere witness as a form of love itself, of generosity, of gratitude. It is simply a way of saying to the recipients, and frankly to the crowd of people in the room, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for being here. This is that intersection of gratitude and generosity and reciprocity and legacy. It is one of the wonderful ways to express a power that says yes. It's also a wonderful form of power of agency as well. I choose to be here. I choose to give. I choose to connect and to be connected. And I am boosted by this act as much as anybody else is. The room is alive. It is a powerful reminder of what our ability and potential is in the face of efforts to dismantle relationship and legacy and care. In the moment of going to those kind of breakfasts, I think of the young people in our congregation. I think of the young adults in our community who are faced with terrible economic conditions as they make choices about school and work and careers in a very different world than even the one that I grew up in. We need such reminders of power and potential and care, especially amidst our global concerns. It is not lost on me that this is the anniversary of the attack on Pearl Harbor, and that it comes as we have received a new national security statement released this week that shifts the U.S. away from its ties to Western Europe, that has been the core of relationship for the past 80 years against a range of oppressive regimes. This is happening right now. The historian Heather Cox Richardson talks about this in her latest article from yesterday. My colleagues who've served in the military have also been talking about this amongst the ministers. This is a remarkable moment where alignment has been come into question and is actively choosing to go a different path away from our allies of such a long time, imperfect as all those relationships are. Heather Cox Richardson talks about what that shift means. The work that has been for the past 80 years, the work of the World War II, I should say, was between democracy and fascism. And that democracy, imperfect as it is, was based on the principle that all are equal. All are equal. Every single one of us, in all the glorious variety of humanity, as wacky and varied as we are, every one of us is equal with one another. It's a profound and radical statement at the heart of our humanity and at the heart of our governance. The conflict with fascism is against a system that does not regard humanity as human, as valuable, but regards instead relationship that is about utility and priority and power in the hands of a few. And if somebody is not of use, then they are not of worth. That too is a powerful statement. If you are not of use, then you don't get a right to live. You don't get protection. You are not human. That's what it's saying at its heart. And I will say in this moment, even as we have public statements of shift of relationship, that doesn't need to be what's always true. There is more to it than that. This is why we are here, if I may venture, if that's why we're here on Sunday morning, is it not? To be reminded that that awful story is not the story. That's why we always need to have a conversation about generosity, reciprocity, gratitude, about our humanity, about how we are called to take care of each other and this world in a system that is far larger than we really truly understand. How much we are held together in mystery and wonder in all things. That this is a far more powerful story. The one of equality and love and compassion and justice is a far more powerful story, even when the stories of oppression feel like they're winning. Generosity, reciprocity, gratitude is the heart of our theology, the heart of a liberal approach to religion, because it says, yes, it says we have freedom to explore, we have freedom to grow, we have freedom to love, and we have an obligation to heal and care for one another. It is the foundation of our sense of justice and advocacy in the world, even when, and especially when, we don't even feel it personally. I'm not presuming that you are feeling especially grateful today or any given moment, but it's also always there. Close with Robin Wall Kimmerer. She says, gratitude is so much more than a polite thank you. It is the thread that connects us in a deep relationship, simultaneously physical and spiritual. As our bodies are fed and spirits nourished by the sense of belonging, which is the most vital of foods. Our task, our calling, is to keep nourishing our spirits as well as our bodies. To keep remembering that we are indeed deeply, profoundly, impossibly connected. And this is the great story from which everything else comes, which we can transform and heal our world no matter what the damage. Let's go forward, continue this good work together. Amen.